When the first seed was planted, you can be sure a weed came up with it. Weeds have long plagued farmers from the southern tip of Africa to the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. It's a universal problem made even more difficult for the organic farmer. Weeds are generally considered wild plants growing in competition with cultivated plants where they are not wanted. Why are weeds troublesome to farmers? Weeds compete with crop plants for the various necessities of plant growth, which include light, nutrients, and water. This inefficiency of land use leads to the inability to maintain a sustainable system, thus becoming costly to both the farmer and the environment. 3 Rio Grande Valley farmers were interviewed during the making of this video and asked various questions on their knowledge, practices, and issues with weed management. James Simmons is a partner at Heritage Farms, which is a large-scale conventional operation. Juan Raygosa is the owner of a small-scale certified organic farm, and Mark Simon is the manager of Plantation Produce Company Farms, a large certified organic farm. They stated that some of the most common weeds include pigweed, sunflowers, ragweed, and various grasses.
Most of the weeds that we face in the Rio Grande Valley are typically ragweed, sunflowers, careless weed, and that's pretty much the majority.
The conventional methods of weed management typically include mechanical and chemical practices. James Simmons stated that his typical methods of weed control included
just a high cycle, or what we call a sprayer, or using a backpack sprayers to go to the field, or even including going out and having hands go and hoe sunflowers or run a tractor with a toolbar to the field.
Mechanical weed control is best described as a non-selective control option that is especially effective against annual weeds. Chemical management relies on the use of various herbicides. Using the recommended rate, timing of application, and spray volume for a particular herbicide program are critical. Only organic herbicides can be utilized on certified organic farms. According to both the conventional and organic farmers, a key factor in weed management is prevention of seed dispersal. These 3 farmers stated seed dispersal typically occurs through irrigation systems, contaminated machinery, wind dispersal, and in some cases, soil introduction. In order to prevent weed dispersal via machinery, Mark Simon and James Simmons routinely have their machinery cleaned to deal with potential weed transfer to different areas of their large-scale farms.
Since we're an organic farm, if we bring any equipment in from our other farms, that equipment is washed and sanitized before we enter the fields.
If weed seeds are already present in the soil, cover crops can aid in the suppression of weeds. Different types of cover crops help to manage soil erosion, soil fertility, soil quality, water, weeds, pests, disease, biodiversity, and wildlife in an agroecosystem. According to the research done by UTRGV graduate student Savannah Rugg, Sudan grass, sun hemp, and lab were the most successful at suppressing weeds in the Rio Grande Valley.
In terms of weed suppression, Sudan grass did the best, and that's mostly because it's a C4 plant, which means it can withstand those really, really hot summer days, and it's really drought tolerant.
We use the right amount of seed. If we plant too light, all the weeds are gonna come out, but if you plant heavily, then we have seen where you don't see hardly any weed. They grow thick, and they don't let the weeds come out.
Hedgerows work to prevent wind dispersal of weed seeds. Hedgerows are narrow planting strips that grow along field borders consisting of trees, shrubs, ground covers, perennials, and annuals depending on the function, size, and location of the planting strip. Although hedgerows serve a multitude of purposes, the prevention of seed dispersal by wind can be impeded by the presence of a hedgerow serving as a sink for weed seeds. By consensus, the farmer stated that dispersal of weed seeds through irrigation was the most prevalent issue, especially through flood irrigation.
Well, you've got weed seed in the ground all the time. They come in on the wind, from the wind, and a lot of them come in through our flood irrigation system as well. So we're currently in the process of putting a drip system in that has a 4-bank sand filter unit to hopefully try and combat that, as well as better utilize water and be more efficient with our water.
Juan's small-scale organic farm has already implemented a similar system, utilizing a screen filter rather than a sand filter system.
We have a filter. Anything that comes from that water, we have a fine filter before it gets into the drip. So I think we don't have a problem.
Tom Rell is the Chief Systems Designer for high-tech irrigation. He has dealt with irrigation systems for over 30 years and has this to say about drip irrigation.
Within a couple of years of good cultural practice of cultivating and eliminating the weeds that are inherent in your field already, and you're not adding any because we've filtered, you're going to see a 90% reduction in your weed population.
He states that the secret to drip irrigation is filtration. There are 3 methods of filtration. Sand media filtration is the finest filtration, followed by disc filters, and lastly, screen filters. Sand and disc filters are best fit for automation in order to backflush the filtered material, while screen filtration is an older method that requires manual cleaning. There are various types of systems in drip irrigation. A polytube system can have a lifespan of up to 20 years in a permanent environment such as a citrus orchard, while a tape system can have a lifespan of up to 2 years. Drip irrigation can be applied on a small scale all the way up to thousands of acres. Drip irrigation not only helps reduce the propagation of weeds, but also increases the efficiency of water use, making for a more sustainable agricultural practice. Sustainable management of weeds depends largely on the prevention of seed dispersal and germination. Suppression of weeds by cover crop utilizes natural competition of the cover crop to outcompete various weeds, while increasing the quality of the land for future use. The theory of source sink population describes how hedgerows and the filtration system in drip irrigation serves as a sink for weed seeds, halting their dispersal and propagation. Although these solutions are not perfect, they are a step in the right direction for sustainable agriculture. An increase in biodiversity, increase in soil quality, increase in water efficiency, all while decreasing weed propagation, bodes well for the future implementation of these alternative methods. For more information, please visit this website.